And I tell them it starts with hypnosis is possible because of two natural abilities we have. The first natural ability is our ability to automatically react to outside input without involving the intellect. When I'm talking to my clients, I ask them, when you were driving over here, were you focused on operating the machinery? You didn't know. You were thinking about where you were going, what you were going to do, and everything else. You just automatically reacted the way you learned how to do. We learn how to automatically react through repetition. We do something over and over and over again until we can do it without even thinking about it. And then I asked them, okay. Or actually I asked them, how many times would you need to do something over and over and over till you could do it, start doing it automatically? Mm-hmm. And I get all kinds of answers, 10, 20, I heard it's 30 days, you know, all these things. And I tell them, no, it's 3 times. 3 repetitions, it starts becoming automatic. I've heard. Yeah. Okay. And then I offer an example. And if you would, Stephanie, so the people can play along out there also.
Sure, I'll play.
If you would spell the word stop.
S-T-O-P.
Spell shop.
S-H-O-P.
Spell crop.
C-R-O-P.
What do you do when you come to a green light?
Oh. My first reaction was to say stop, but okay. I know it's go.
Yes, but, green, like I said, that's why I asked if you gone
but that it was the first thing about to come up out of my mouth.
Even when they say go, I said stop jumped in your mind, didn't it? Yeah. Because, you know, it's an old joke, actually. But that's why the joke works.
I even knew that it was an old joke, and so I was watching for it. But I think had I not been prepared for that, I think I would have said stop for sure.
And that also goes to show that even though you don't want it to be automatic, it starts becoming automatic anyway.
That's right.
Okay. So once you have that, okay, then you stop and think about what they call.
That's such a great example too. That was.
Stop and think about what they call a yes set.
Yeah.
Okay. Pacing and leading. Okay. Which are just suggestions. Right. Anyway, so I think the reason we have this ability to automatically react to outside input without involving the intellect is to compensate for a limitation we have to only be able to consciously focus our attention on one thing at a time. Think about 2 people trying to talk to you at once. You can be aware they're both there, be aware they're both making noise, but in order to find out what they're saying, you have to focus your attention on them, and you can only do so one at a time. It's why they don't want you to text and drive.
Right.
My metaphor for texting and driving. Going down the highway, shut your eyes, take the hands off the wheel.
You're probably doing that, yeah, if you're texting, for sure.
So now it's this ability to focus our attention. Huh? What was that?
I was just, don't text and drive, people.
Yeah, there you go.
That's our PSA now.
I think the reason that we have the ability to focus our attention like this, it helps enable the hypnotic trance state. In my model, a hypnotic trance state manifests whenever the focus of attention is inside the body, like feeling something. Mm-hmm. And what you're experiencing is being provided to you by your imagination in reaction to suggestion instead of what it normally does, which is sensory. Let me tell you a little bit about the imagination. Most people think their imagination is just their creative side, the part of them that comes up with all these neat ideas and solutions. But I've found that the imagination plays a much larger role in our day-to-day lives. It appears to be the base purpose of the imagination is to provide us with an understandable representation of what we experience and what we encounter. Nothing screws us up more if we don't know what that is or what's going on.
Right. Okay?
It does this in a couple different ways. Number one, it provides an understandable representation of what our senses tell us. We don't get direct input from our senses. It's interpreted.
Right. Everything is interpreted, right?
And as an example for that, I asked him if you ever had a cut, a scrape or a bruise that you discovered. And then when you did, how did I do that, right? And also, as soon as you find it, it's ow. Now it hurts. Well, that's actual tissue damage that you were unaware of when it happened because your focus of attention was elsewhere. You literally didn't know it was damaged. And because your body didn't know it was damaged, it didn't know it was supposed to provide the caution signal, the pain signal. So, but another way the imagination does it is sometimes we don't have all the information. So the imagination will act as a comparator to memory to look for the closest match of what we've experienced in the past. That's why we can pull patterns out of things, see faces and shapes and clouds. It's all our imagination trying to make sense of our world to us. Okay, one of the things that it's linked right to our survival. Okay, once again, hypnotic trance state, focus of attention inside the body, the imagination providing reaction to suggestion instead of sensory. What literally happens is we lose the ability to tell what's real and what's true.
Mhm.
I've since found out that
Agreed.
that's because our peripheral awareness shuts down. What provides us with our reality? It's our peripheral awareness. It lets us know where we are, what we're doing, what's going on around us, all of the things, looking for something that we might have to pay attention to. Okay.
Mhm.
If that goes away, the imagination is used to using that to provide us with reality information. But that goes away, then it starts desperately looking for something to replace it. That's why it will react to suggestion. It's outside input, and this is about rapport. Does it trust the
Fascinating.
an example I put on my website is being the navigator in a submarine. Okay. You've got all these sonars and radars and periscopes and all these things to tell you what's going on while you're underwater.
Right.
And you provide that to the captain, and the captain gives the orders. Now, all of a sudden, all your equipment goes down, and the captain faints. The submarine is still underway. Oh my God, I'm not getting any data. What am I going to run into? Yada, yada, yada. And a voice comes from outside the submarine that says, turn left 90 degrees now. Okay, well, you don't know what's going on, but there's got to be a reason, so I'll do it.
Yeah.
There's a decision to be
That's a
made.
perfect metaphor. I love that metaphor.
So you turn left, and then you hear obstacle averted. Oh, it wasn't okay. There was a reason. Resume original course. All right. Then it says turn right 90 degrees now. Well, your resistance to the second suggestion is 1/2 of what it was to the first one. It worked worked once. It should work twice. Turn left. Obstacle averted. Okay. Hey, I'm winning.
That's why it's important to compound suggestions.
Exactly. That's why we need at least 3 repetitions.
Yeah.
That's I'd like to keynote that in there. There's something called the rule of 3s that some hypnotists know and some have never heard of.
Okay.
Rule of 3s tunes into this fact it takes 3 repetitions for something to become automatic. Going to do a yes set, do at least 3. If you're going to hypnotize somebody, it only takes 3 suggestions, and they're yours. Okay? Providing 2 things. Well, let me continue with my pre-talk and all.
Can you just say that it takes 3 sets of repetition for what to become automatic?
Anything you do.
For anything to become automatic. Okay.
Start becoming automatic.
Oh, okay.
So you can start doing it without you engaging the intellect, without thinking about doing it.
Gotcha.
Okay. My smokers, I tell, well, how many repetitions does your smoking behavior have? If you ever lit one up and only find you already had one burning in the ashtray, guess why? Yeah.
Get that right.
So anyway, we enter this condition with the hypnotic trance state where we don't know what's real and what's true, and consequently everything becomes true then. Just like before the age of 7 or 8 when we had to have the talk about Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy. The reason, or the value, I should say, of this state where everything is true is the second natural ability, which is our ability to automatically adapt to a changing environment. It's one of the reasons we're the top of the food chain. Think about getting into a cool swimming pool or a hot tub. When you first get in, it's, ooh, but then in just moments, we adapt to the new reality. That's how fast we adapt to whatever we believe is real. Hypnotic trance state, everything's real. So if I provide a suggestion and two conditions exist, you automatically react to that suggestion, your body automatically adapts to the new reality. The two conditions that have to exist is, number one, you have to know how to react. If I ask you to start dextroboping, what are you going to do?
Who knows?
I don't know.
Right?
I made up that word.
Right.
I normally provide what the expected reaction is. But the second condition that has to exist is there has to be no reason not to. That's your natural protection. There's a part of your mind that never goes to sleep, never goes into trance, always looking for attempts to control you without your permission, trying to get you to do things that you want to do. So if it encounters that, it will stand in the way. But if those two conditions do exist, you know how to react and there's no reason not to, you will. Your body automatically adapts. That's what hypnosis is. It's how it works. It's why it works. It's why we get changed because of it. So that's what is required for the subject to automatically react to a suggestion.
To automatically react.